Hello everyone, welcome back to the 4OURPLAY podcast. It's Bella.
This is Jase.
Today's episode is all about Bliss Cruise. We just got back from Bliss Cruise April 2024. So today's episode is all about a review of it and what we thought and how much fun we had and all of those frequently asked questions that we get all the time. You will learn all about it in this episode.
Also, you guys are watching here on YouTube. We have a new location unlocked. We're filming in a place we never filmed before. We're filming in our living room, which is where you normally film YouTube like videos, like educational ones. We've never done a podcast here. Our couch is like a segment. How do you say that?
It's modular, so you can move it around. So we took out the middle piece and now we have a cute little
podcast booth.
Yeah, podcast couch.
So if you guys want to, we'll have a link down below if you guys want to watch it instead of just listen. But I'm excited to record in here. It feels fun. So
and then you can go to 4OURPLAY.com/YouTube podcast, and then that'll take you directly to our podcast YouTube channel. That's the number 4OURPLAY.com/podcast YouTube. And before we get into today's episode, if our content helps you out in any way and you're planning on going on a lifestyle vacation in the future, whether that's a cruise or a resort, if you guys will consider using our links to book your vacation, it helps us out a ton. It doesn't cost you any extra. And we go on the cruises, every cruise available. Oh, well, except for the Desire cruises. So we do Temptation Cruise and then the 2 Bliss cruises a year. And we go to the resorts. If you go to our website, 4OURPLAY.com/playcation, you'll see what events that we're going to. But if we're on that specific vacation with you, we do a little private meetups. We do a group chat before. We do special 4OURPLAY swag gifts and stuff that are really, really cute and fun. And we hand make all of it. And it's one of my favorite parts is to make everything and give them out. And so if you get all of those little extra perks if you guys book through our links. So again, that's 4OURPLAY.com/travel. Would greatly appreciate if you guys consider that, if our content helps you out at all. And it also helps us to be able to continue to make this type of content for you guys too. So let's go ahead and hop into today's episode.
Yes, and today is Bliss April 24. It was our first April Bliss ever. Also, if you are watching on YouTube and you see us pulling up our phones a lot, we have an outline so we do not forget to tell you guys anything.
It's a hefty outline.
It is a hefty outline.
We are going over everything that we think that you might have questions about.
Yeah. The first thing, which I feel like we always start these podcasts with whenever we get back from the cruises, is talking about the people who did book through us, who came with us. We had such a fun group this time. We have a fun group every time, but it was so nice. We got to have such good conversations with everybody. We had such a good group dinner. It was one of my favorite group dinners we've ever done.
Yeah, we got the little booth that was in so we just do it at the buffet, so it's just easy come, easy go. And it's just more casual, and almost everybody came except for one couple. Well, 2 couples. One couple didn't come, and then the other one unfortunately had to not be able to go due to some family emergency things, which I hope that you guys are okay and everything. But we had it at like this booth section. It was a circular booth, and we just all got to talk to each other really easily. It was so fun. I love getting to know everybody, and it's like one of my favorite parts is just like the meetup and the dinner, and we're so thankful. Thank you guys so much for booking through us, and we won't go more into that. And
I want to say one funny thing though that happened was we were going to have our meetup, the first meetup in the library, and we were not aware that Bliss had turned the library into one of the playrooms. So last minute we had to move it to a different area, and it worked out. But it was just really funny to me that we scheduled our meetup in a playroom, like completely by accident.
They never use the library. Like, I feel like the library is never ever used for anything. So we were like, well, that one's gonna be like a more quiet place. Usually people play board games and stuff in there. So I thought that it wasn't gonna be used at all. But it was so funny because one of the couples, and I felt so bad because we didn't have like a way to communicate with everybody that it was getting changed, but we stood right outside of it to direct everybody up there. But they came in robes, because to go into the playrooms you have to either be in robes or a towel, and I thought that they had actually just come from the playroom because there was a play session going on. I thought that they had finished that and like stop their play session to come to the meetup, but they were like, no, we saw that it was at the library and we just came just in case. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope not. Like, I was a little worried that everybody thought that we were gonna like all have like this mandatory orgy. We would not do that. Okay, it's a like casual meetup just to get to know everybody. But that was really funny.
Yeah, it was just such a good time. So that was the first part. And the other thing that I think is really important before we go into all the details is Bliss is amazing. We love absolutely going on Bliss. And what's so important now, I feel like, is booking early. Like if you guys are considering going, and I know that lots of people are like, well, maybe we'll decide later. Obviously, never rush to do those, but it's booking out really quickly now. Like, for example, this November has been booked out since March. So it booked out almost, 10 months in advance, something like that.
There's already a wait list.
Yeah, and like I know that November of 2025, which is 17 months from now, there's literally not even interior rooms left. So it's booking crazy fast now because it's getting so much more popular.
Yeah.
And so if you guys are considering going, do consider, maybe thinking about booking earlier than later, just because I said it is filling up so fast and it's so disappointing whenever you want to go on the trip and then you just can't because you didn't book early enough. So we just want to put a warning out there right now, or a heads up, I guess, that it is just booking really, really fast. Like we're already booked through April of 2026.
Which is everything you
which
can
is
book
2
at this
years
point.
from now.
Yeah.
Because it's booking so quickly.
Yeah.
And we just want to make sure to get rooms that we like. And so that's just a little heads up for everyone.
And you can book through us at 4play.com/travel or 4play.com/cruise. And that's the number 4OURPLAY.com. And again, like we said earlier, we do special meetups and a group dinner and extra swag and stuff. And so we would love to see you guys on there with us, but book early.
Yeah.
So to make sure that you get a spot on the trip.
Yeah.
The length of this cruise was 5 nights, and actually the next 2 years in April will be 6 nights, which is really nice. We've been on the previous Bliss cruises before in November, and those ones have each been 7 nights every time that we went. And for whatever reason, we really do feel like the 2 extra nights makes a big difference when it comes to Bliss cruise. And we're not quite sure if it's just a little bit more relaxed throughout the entire cruise, or it just seems, and there's also like a lot of things going on throughout the day that it's hard to find people again a lot, and so to make those connections just takes a little bit longer.
For us personally, this is from our personal experience of how it's gone for us.
Because we really like to have like a friendship connection first and then see, how everything goes, and then if that moves on to, extra playtime later, that's great. And yeah, we just need that like time to kind of get to know people. And we felt like 5 nights, it was like night 4 and night 5 that we were like, we wanted to make this happen with like multiple couples, and then it was like night 4 and 5 that we finally felt ready to
because it took us those like 4 nights to kind
3
of
nights.
I guess 3 nights, and on the 4th night we were like finally felt like we had enough communication with everybody and like talked enough that we were like, okay, yeah, like this sounds so good, but there's only 2 nights left. And I feel like it's just because, and we'll talk about it throughout here, but I do think that because there's so many different things going on, people aren't always in the same place. Like Temptation, I feel like you're either here or here. Like there's not like as many events going on. It's more one main event with other little offshoots, where Bliss has so many different things going on, which is a benefit, right? But also at the same time, I feel like I didn't always see people throughout the day, and so it took us a while to kind of like really build those connections, and then the cruise is almost over. So that's why I feel like 7 nights is perfect for Bliss, and that's why I even feel like 6 nights is even better than 5. So it's no fault of Bliss, but for us it just takes a little bit longer to like, not even longer, maybe just longer. We just take a little bit longer to connect on Bliss for whatever reason.
And if it's your first cruise too, because we met a lot of people who this was not only their first lifestyle cruise, but a lot of people's first lifestyle events ever, which I commend you guys, because that takes a lot of guts. And everybody said that they had an amazing time though. I have not yet met one couple who said this was their first lifestyle event that they didn't like it.
I agree.
You're kind of set up for the most success, I think.
I was gonna say the same thing.
After a lifestyle cruise, I think most other like hotel takeovers or even like going to clubs and stuff, they're just not going to stack up the same.
Yeah, I agree. And also, so if you're a person out there that maybe is newer into this, never dove into your first lifestyle vacation, I really do think the cruises are one of the best options, because obviously you take everything at your own pace in the lifestyle, right? But you go to a club and there's so much going on and then it's over in 4 hours. So sometimes in a club, you might have to go 2 or 3 times before you kind of like acclimate yourself enough to even dance or do whatever you need to do. Whereas I feel like on the cruises, since you have 5 nights, they have the meetups, they have dinners, they have like, you can talk to so many people that are further along in the lifestyle than you, or are just also starting. Like there's so many avenues of different ways to approach a lifestyle. You can go watch, you can play. There's so many options that I feel like a cruise really is a great first step into like this world, because you can kind of go all in or stay completely back, and you have all the options, and you have multiple days to kind of immerse yourself in that, and you can take it at your own pace. But it's not like a club where it's like, oh, Saturday, well now it's over.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go next Saturday. Oh, now all these couples are gone. Like if it's hard at the beginning to make connections with people, right? So now you have 5 days or 7 days to keep talking to these people and make those connections. So
which brings me back to why I brought that up, is because I feel like and what I've spoken to with other couples who it was their first vacation or first lifestyle event, it kind of takes you a few days to just get your bearings.
Yeah.
So once you're like finally are like, feeling comfortable, it's day 4 or day 5, and then it's the last day. So then those extra 2 days really, we think, makes a big difference. But then of course that comes with time and stuff too.
But
like,
I remember
you can get taken up.
Our very first Bliss cruise ever, it was night 5 when we finally felt like we had our bearings. And then we had like 2 more nights that we felt like we were kind of really living our best life in the cruise. And now I feel like I can get on day 1 and kind of know what it's like, so I know how to like acclimate myself for that.
But even then, it takes longer for us to like make those connections. So then it ends up being okay, so that's the length. We kind of went on a longer tangent. If you guys are podcast listeners, like I feel like this is the place where we can really go in depth and do long form content, so I don't like feel bad about going in depth and stuff. But we will move on from the length now. So this one was 5 nights, which is nice too.
So I'll do the girth of the cruise.
Yeah, okay. How was the girth? Which is more important, length or girth?
Length.
Did you say length?
No.
You just go length.
No, I was thinking about like length or girth, but I was gonna say that's like more of a you question. To me, I don't know.
Would you prefer length or girth? I feel like I would rather.
I feel like I'd rather have balance. Yeah. Not too girthy, not too lengthy. Just
the cruise ship had a great girth
and length, but it could have been 7 days. It could have been longer.
Next, we'll talk about the size of the ship rather than the length of the cruise. The ship this year was on the Royal Caribbean Mariner of the Seas, and there was about 3,500 passengers. And there's a lot of crew, a lot of crew. But we don't count that in like how many people it can hold. But there was about 3,500 passengers,
which is decent sized for a lifestyle cruise. Because
very nice cruise size.
I think normally I would say around 2,000 to 3,000 is probably in that range. Probably around 2,500 is probably the average. You obviously have the outliers like Symphony of the Seas, who's going to be 6,000 people, but as a general, or 7, however big that is.
Like
but I think that 35 is I would say on the bigger size of lifestyle cruises.
Yeah, I think it was a great size. The ship was really, really nice, and we'll talk more about accommodations and stuff later, but it was on the Mariner of the Seas. It does not mean that it's not going to be on Mariner of the Seas again, at least right now. It's not in the next 2 years, because they already have all the different ships out. So if you're wanting to know about this specific cruise ship, you can just watch regular YouTube tours about like what it offered and everything. But in the future, in the near future, it's not going to be back on Mariner of the Seas anyway.
Average age, I would say, is right in that main swinger demographic. 45 to 55, I would say, was the largest portion.
I might even say 60.
No.
45 to 60?
I think 45, 58.
Okay.
in that range. I don't know. I really do think in that area was the main demographic, which I feel like is your most typical lifestyle demographic. Now, I've heard in the past that Bliss April has been a little bit younger than Bliss November. Like we've had friends who have gone the last 2 Bliss Aprils and said, and they were also on this one, they're like, hey, the last 2 Bliss Aprils were much younger. So maybe it was this sailing, but I do feel like this was just almost that perfect bell curve of what the swinger population is, that 45 to 55, with it skewing off on both sides of older than that and younger than that.
I think, to me, it felt like this was probably the least amount of people 40 and under that I've seen on a lifestyle vacation.
I agree. And it also is definitely, it's more of like kind of a chill vibe. Like, yes, it's still party heavy. Like, you definitely party, and we'll get into even the parties more later. But I will say it does have more of a chill vibe, which is more talking and less partying, which to me lends itself to a really nice time, being able to have those times at the pool where instead of just dancing, you are more talking to people and you have the option to go dance and stuff like that. But I definitely think it's a little bit more of a chill crowd, which I also think reflects in November. I feel like that's a similar type feel where it's
very like socializing heavy rather than, it's like socializing heavy and play heavy. Bliss Cruise is a couples only cruise. You can also go in a group of 3 if you are in a room that can occupy 3. There's rooms that you can occupy 3 or 4, and so you can have more people per cabin, but it is a couples cruise, so singles cannot go. You cannot book a room just by yourself. And they will even, it's listed like in the terms and conditions that if you arrive to the port without your partner, that they can and will most likely deny you from boarding the ship. So just make sure that you guys know that it is, singles cannot come, and it is a couples cruise.
So next we are going to talk about how the ship is organized. We'll start with playrooms because I feel like that's always everybody's biggest interest is the playrooms. And I will say Bliss does playrooms right. Multiple different playrooms. We'll start with the big one that was partly in the library and partly in, I don't even know what section of the ship that is.
Is it like the conference? Oh, it's like where they do, normally they would do comedy shows and like trivia and stuff. It was a huge room, like a lot of space.
I don't know how many, I'm really bad at guesstimating how many of things there are. I want to say it was at least 50 to 150 beds.
Oh my God, that's a huge 100 range. I would say there was at least 50 beds.
I think it was more than that though.
It lined the whole like back side like of the walls, and it was like bed to bed, and then there was like another row kind of just like that right in front of it, and they all had curtains. It was like red and white curtains. It had a very sexy vibe.
I agree 100%.
To it. The lighting was good, the temperature was good. It wasn't like too hot. I don't remember if there was like music or anything. We weren't paying attention to the music.
Yeah, there was a lot of other stuff going on.
There wasn't anything that like made me think, oh my God, the music's too loud or the music's too boring, if there was. So it was like the perfect type of...
Yeah, there was also, I don't know if, I guess it was 2 ginormous beds, which felt like it was like 8 beds at least put together.
Just out in the open,
Yeah, so I mean, it was, that was the main playroom. So it was...
And we say bed, not saying that like everybody on there was having an...
Yeah.
So it's just like a huge bed. Yeah, it's a group bed.
Yeah.
And honestly, whenever you go on these cruises, most of the time it'll be couples playing with their own, like in the playrooms. From what we've seen, it's like most couples are playing by themselves with their own partner. A lot of the beds are usually taken by one couple
or 4 or 2 couples.
But and I don't know if they're swapping or if they're parallel playing, but there's a lot of couples. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you don't have to be swapping. You don't have to be participating in an to go on the cruises or to go into the playrooms. You can be connecting with your own partner. Maybe you just like to be
like
engaging engaging in activities with your own partner so other people can see. And so I would say a majority of the beds was only 2 people.
At least I'd say a majority, at least half, if not more. And you can be in foursomes if you want.
Even on the it was like a majority of just like parallel play. Like I said, I don't know how many, but whenever we're like having, I feel like everyone's kind of like,
it might look like parallel play to an outside perspective if you didn't know who was partnered up. So,
but I feel like we're like touching like more than just the 2
not
couples.
Always though.
But whenever
you can do whatever you want to do in there. You can do whatever you want to do in there, and there's a lot of room to do it.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Oh, and you do have to be either in that specific playroom, you did have to be in a robe or in lingerie or in a towel.
Yeah.
And there was a section right in the front that you could change into, or I guess change out of your street clothes, quotation street clothes, so you can go into the playrooms. You do have to go in as a couple. And the security part was really good about that.
And at night it was open from 10 to 3 for couples, and then in the daytime it's kind of cool. They had like different play sessions. Sometimes it was just like an open play. I know there would be times when it was like, oh, it's a bi girls play meetup.
There was a girls only. There was a bi couples.
Yeah, there was just tons of different kinds of
playtimes
that they would go for a certain category, so maybe you could find more like-minded people to play with that had that same mindset in certain areas, which I think is really cool.
I don't know if they did this, but if they didn't, I think it would be a good idea to do like a meetup that wasn't in the playroom of that specific play category.
Well, they
right
have
before.
those. They have the normal meetups.
Oh, that's true.
45 and under, bi meetup, soft swap, full swap. They have all of those.
I didn't know if it was like right, because it would be kind of nice to do it like right before. And then
but
you,
it'd
like,
be too hard.
Yeah. But anyways, I digress.
So let's go to the next playroom. There was another playroom that was much smaller. I would say that one was also inside. At least 20 beds. That one had more of a blue lighting, which also had a very sexy feel. And that was around 20 beds. They had curtains on them. And then that was connected to the dungeon. The dungeon this year had St. Christopher's cross, St. Andrew's cross. It was that X-shaped cross. I don't know what it's called. I know it's a Saint somebody's cross. And there was also a table that had a bunch of different toys that you could use in that BDSM space. I'm not very versed in that, so my knowledge of that is not the best.
It was like everything you needed, though.
Yeah, and that one wasn't quite as... I remember in the past, I feel like on some of the other Blisses, it was set up where it was almost like a show, and the people in the front. This one I feel like was a little bit less of a show feel, and more like people participating all throughout, which I thought was just different but also cool.
It was pretty small, I would say, compared to the other times that we've seen the dungeon on Bliss. There was only about like 4 different types of play areas, if you could call it that, like beds or the cross.
Yeah, but I do think it's really cool that they have a dungeon.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Because it is a swingers cruise, which I know there is swingers who participate in BDSM and vice versa, but it's not as heavily of a BDSM cruise. So the fact that they still have a dungeon, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And then there was one more playroom. I'm telling you, there's so many
that
playrooms.
playroom, you could go in your quotation street clothes.
Yeah.
Like you could go in normal clothes. You did not have to undress or dress less to go in there. Tip though, if you are going to go into, we recommend to go to your room. Well, I guess it kind of depends on like the vibe of the night, but we recommend to go have a robe already and then go to your room, change out, and then just go to the playroom in your robe, so you don't have to undress before you go into the playrooms.
I do think they give you bags though to hold your clothes, which is nice.
But then you have to like put your clothes back on.
Yeah.
And so,
but we're also just not big playroom people, so maybe that's just us.
Yeah.
And then there was one more playroom. We said there was so many playrooms that they have, which I think is really cool because it's a swingers cruise. There was an outdoor playroom, and the outdoor playroom I believe was open sometimes at night and also sometimes in the day. And there was, I know we counted 16 beds because we walked up there. I know there was at least 16 beds. I counted that many, and they were like mattresses, and people would like lay towels out because I don't think you could put sheets up there because of how windy it was.
Yeah.
And so I will say the only time that I ever went up there when it was open was during the daytime. And I will say the people that were out there, because it was in the sun, right? It's the outdoor playroom, and it was hot. And so people up there, they were champs. I saw them like 4 p.m. in like 100-degree weather, and I was like, wow. Color me impressed because
it feel like 100?
It felt like 100 to me. It felt hot.
It's like kind of windy. So, I mean, I think that
I felt like my heart was pumping walking up the stairs to get to the outdoor playroom. Yeah. So, but I think it's really cool that they have an outdoor playroom. And I mean, if that's, what you're into is being outside, I feel like feeling the nature and the breeze of all that would be like really cool.
And just looking out into the ocean, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. But I feel like the nighttime would be better in my opinion, just because it'd be a little bit less hot because of no like sun.
That would be kind of scary though. But then it would be really pretty because of like the moonlight and like the stars. I did want to say that they had protection in the playrooms as well. I don't know about the outdoor one. I don't know if they like offered to like free protection there. I think everyone brought their own. Continuing
on with kind of like the organization of the ship, we're going to kind of go into how the layout was as far as like nighttime parties and how all of that kind of functions. So, and this section is why I feel like it lends to the idea of it being a little bit harder to find people because people aren't always in the same space. So let's say at night, from 9 to 11 generally was the pre-party. There's a promenade on the ship, and what the promenade is it's around, I would say like 5 or 6 stories tall, and it almost looks like a little walkway, almost like in a mall. Yeah, in a promenade, exactly. And there's like rooms on both sides that overlook it, and down there they have a bunch of different bars, they have shops, they have pizza, they have some other sorts of foods down there, and that would be the main area that people would hang out. before the normal party would start. And that was a really good place to go if you wanted to stand and people watch. I said you can get a drink down there. And so that was from 9 to 11. They'd also have one of the
busy.
Yeah, they'd always have one of the DJs also up there playing from 9 to 11.
And they were like on a walkway, like above everybody. They were like really high up.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
And then at 10, so in between that time, right? So 1 hour after the pre-party started, the normal party would start at Studio B, which was the ice skating rink. And on this cruise ship, there was an ice skating rink. I don't know if they ever did open skating. I never saw open skating listed. Didn't. But it's actually really nice that they have the party there because they put a flooring over the ice skating rink. But because it's under an ice skating rink, it stays cool. Like you dance all night and you never get too hot.
Yeah.
So I love the party being there. And then also...
Well, and also because it's really cool because it was an ice skating rink, there was seating. So you walk down the stairs and then there was the dance floor. But then on each side, there was like 3 different sides where it was seating that kind of went on a diagonal
like stadium seating.
Yeah, and which was awesome because you could people watch you. The music was we'll talk more about the specific kind of music, but the sound system in there, the music was incredible. There was there was one time where we just sat with DJ Life of Spice, like kind of in the back, in the middle, and we were just listening to the music and just like watching, and it was the best place. And it wasn't too loud up there too, and then there was so much space. So it was really nice.
And so the party was mainly there every night at 10. And then also they had some different shows. We'll talk more about the shows, but the shows were generally also at 10. And so you had the pre-party, the main party, and the shows all at the exact same time. And then the playrooms opened at 10.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on.
10 o'clock, everything was happening. Like everything started. And so that's why I feel like it was so hard to find people, because you have so many good options, right? Like those are all fun options. So it's not like you have some options, like they're all good options. So I feel like in a way that's a real benefit because you have so many different choices. Also karaoke, I believe also started at 10 o'clock.
10:30, yeah.
And so everything was going on right then. And so that dispersed the ship so much that it just wasn't as easy to find people. And that's why I think earlier we were talking about for us taking longer to find connection or make those connections is because you might see someone in one area one day but not see the next day, or they might see them somewhere else on the next day. And so there was so much going on at night that I feel like it's almost like overwhelming in a sense, but not in a bad way.
It's not overwhelming. It's just there's just something for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that it's actually not overwhelming. I think that the fact that there are so many things that you can do and you can hop from place to place, it's really nice.
But at the same time, like I feel like sometimes I'd be like, well, I wanted to go see the comedian, but I cared more about the party. But then I kind of want to be the pre-party. Like that's why I mean like overwhelming. Like there's so many choices. Like I don't know what to choose.
We ended up just choosing dancing.
Yeah, but you have to make a decision, right? But like I feel like that like is a good thing, but also kind of hard just because there is so many fun things to choose.
And in addition to like the main dancing area, there was also different bars around the ships too. So in the promenade, there were a ton of different bars that other people would kind of flock. There was like a sports bar, there was like a Latin bar, and they had live Latin music. That one got really busy too. And so there's so many different options of not even just entertainment that they were doing there, but there was also so many places where you could congregate to talk to people and make those connections. Moving on to the different pools. So there was the main pool deck, which is usually on like 11 or 12. And then there's...
which is 11 this time.
Yeah. And so there was 2 big pools and then 4 hot tubs on the pool deck. The one thing about the pools on cruise ships is because they're made for not obviously just swingers cruises, the pools are pretty deep.
Yeah.
Because they're made for swimming.
Yeah.
Like usually kids are like flopping around, like swimming, and like people doing laps and like actually swimming for fun rather than conversating. Yeah. And so there wasn't usually that many people inside of the actual pool. And it was not like really deep, but it got down to, or I guess up. It was like 5'3", which that would completely go over my head. I would have to doggy paddle for me too, which I actually love swimming though. I got in the pool a couple times and that was like one of my favorite things to do was like to actually swim in there.
But the pool is nice because they have like seating around the outside.
Yeah.
They also have an area that I would say is like 6 inches of water or so that you could like sit in if you want to sit and put your feet into like the deeper part of the pool. So there was options to like half get in the pool, I guess, kind of. And I would say those areas were pretty busy because the music was really good around there. There was a main area to like listen to music right there, and there was also a little dance floor next to a bar there, so if you didn't want to just sit by the pool, you could do some dancing, which was kind of fun. And I feel like that would kind of get busy and then get a little less busy than busy, so you kind of had both options, which is really nice.
And there was a ton of seating too, those beach chairs and all that. And above there, like on the next floor up, it overlooked the pool area, and then there was seating all the way around there too, so you could get a spot.
And the hot tubs were there's huge hot tubs.
Always busy.
Always busy. Like,
you didn't even get in a hot tub one time.
I never even got in a hot tub.
I made sure to get into the hot tub at least one time, which was only one time.
On Temptation, you never got in a hot tub, and I did.
That's true.
So
evens out.
But those were always really popular, and so that was like the main pool area. That's the main time that everything was going on during the day. Whenever we talk about the pool activities later, we'll talk about them, but they were also going on in that main area by where the music was, a little dance floor by the bar. So then behind that, there was what I would almost, if you've been to like Desire and stuff, they have like, or Temptation, they have like the quiet pool, the party pool. I would say Solarium was more the quiet pool, whereas the main pool was the party pool, because there's one pool in there with 2 different hot tubs. The hot tubs were still huge. The
hot tubs were twice as big as the hot tubs on the outside deck.
And they were also full all the time.
Always full.
The pool is smaller there than like the other pools, but still a very large pool, I would say.
I didn't get into that one, but I think that one was shorter.
Yeah,
I remember seeing a lot more people in that pool than in the party pool.
Yeah, but I would see people there sitting and like talking, but you couldn't hear the music near as much over there.
So it was a lot better to
like conversate. There was a lot more people, I feel like, sitting down. I mean, more people, but people just like tanning, relaxing,
reading a book. Yeah.
So that area was
more relaxing.
More relaxed.
Mariner of the Seas had a really fun activities area. Not all of the lifestyle cruises will choose ships that have like slides and, you know, fun water activities, but this one did, and we loved it. So there was 2 slides that you could go on. You could like race each other. It was one of those that went in like a little, not a loop, but like a circle
spiral.
Thingy. Yeah, spiral. And it was so fun. I went on both of them.
Yeah.
I think I went on the slides like a total of like almost 10 times.
Yeah.
The hardest part of doing that was going up the stairs.
Like it's like 4 flights tall, 3 flights tall.
And you could go on them topless, and you know, that's always fun. Not nude, but topless.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to just like watch people go down. There was a section on this slide on both of them where it was clear.
Yeah.
And so then you can like see people. I mean, they were going really fast.
Yeah.
But you could like see booties, and that's pretty fun.
But then whenever they got out of the water, it's just fun because like if you've ever been on a normal cruise, like every time someone stands up, would you do the same thing, right? Just to be polite, everyone's like grabbing themselves to like cover up.
Yeah.
But like everyone would just jump up and it's like woo, and, like shake their boots and stuff. It was so much fun. And then the flow rider.
There was a flow rider.
There's a flow rider right next to it, which if you don't know what that is, it's almost like a surfing simulator. I guess is the best way I would know how to describe it. And so you can like almost like boogie board on your stomach or on your knees, or you can use these little like boards that you would stand that almost look like a small snowboard, I guess. And that was fun because it was also topless. So people would just be like surfing with their out.
Or if they weren't, and then their tits always came out.
Yeah.
Because whenever you fall and then you like push towards the back, like a tit would always be out.
Yeah. And people would always just like cheer, like, yeah, go.
And the people who worked there were really good at like teaching people how to do it. I didn't personally do it because I would eat shit. I've done it before, and I always ate shit. I can't even boogie board on there. I usually just like end up going to one side. But the seating was cool because you could sit on each side, or you can sit right in the front. Jase and I went up there like 2 or 3 times and just like sat in the front and like watched people.
And like cheered for people, and like everyone's just having a good time, and everyone's just in such a good mood, just having fun. So like I really liked that. And then you went around from there, and they had some little swings, which is actually so funny because there was a sign that said swing at your own risk. And
it wasn't like a swing like at a playground. It was like a disc, like a huge,
almost like a huge circle that had like
2 people could fit on it.
Roping type bottom. Like I don't really know how to describe exactly what it like a disc that you would sit in, but huge. But you could sit there and relax, and
the sign said swing rules, swing at your own risk.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. There was also like a jungle gym type looking thing that you could climb up, and there's netting, and there were hammocks, and it was always pretty quiet up there.
Yeah, it was. And then there was a basketball court next to that, and they also had pickleball, which was kind of fun. I saw people, and there was also ping pong right there.
So there was rock climbing wall.
Yeah,
and all of those things were open. Not all the time, but there were specific times that it was open.
I never saw one person rock climb.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I saw
Were they
people
topless?
rock climb.
That would have been so fun. I bet you couldn't be topless for that. Also, this really funny thing, which anyone who also was on this cruise, I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but it was clearly Michael Jordan, but his number was 32 instead of 23, and every time I would walk, because it had bulls and everything, it looked just like him, but I'm sure because of copyright, they couldn't 32. Do that, so they made Michael Jordan number 32, and I don't know, it just made me laugh.
I was surprised that it said bulls. Me too. We were talking to a friend that we met, and he was like, I think we were joking and saying it should have said ball.
Yeah. And then also the one other area that wasn't there that was activities is they did have a mini golf course. Oh, yeah. That was past the outdoor playrooms. At the front of the ship, they actually had like a really nice mini golf course. And me and you went up there and played a little bit one day whenever it was a port day. And so that was kind of fun. So they had a lot of different activities you could do on this one that are just the activities of the boat, which was, I don't know, really fun.
I think everybody who did all of those are like so young at heart and just like fun, and I loved it. I love whenever ships have things like that on swinger cruises. And so in November, unfortunately it is sold out, so if you're listening to this and you're not booked on there, I'm sorry, but it's going to be on Symphony of the Seas. That one has a freaking zip line that you could just go on.
They also have non-water slides. Just normal slide. Yeah,
that you can go to like a carpet slide.
Yeah, that one's gonna be really
so
fun.
I cannot wait. The merry-go-round.
Yeah, but back to Bliss April 2024. Let's go into theme nights now.
This podcast is brought to you by us, Bella and Jase. If you're going on a vacation, or maybe you have a gift that you want to give your other lifestyle friends, and you're looking for lifestyle clothing, we have the best apparel on the market for you. We have not only clothing, bikinis, swimsuits, we have backpacks, tumblers, cups, anything that you can name, we probably have it. You can find that at 4OURPLAY.com/shop.
Let's say you're at a party, you're going on vacation, things are moving a little bit slow. Maybe you want some conversation to flow. Maybe you want to move stuff towards play. Well, we have the perfect game for you. It's called 4OURPLAY the Game. It is a digital and physical lifestyle icebreaker game, and you can find out all about it at 4OURPLAY.com/games. That's number 4OURPLAY.com/games.
If you don't have a lifestyle vacation planned, a resort or a cruise planned, why not? You can join us. You can find that at 4OURPLAY.com/playcation. We have not only information about the events and trips that we'll be on this year, but also other options for you as well. And it doesn't cost any extra for you to book through our links, but helps us a lot, helps us continue to be able to make this type of content for you. Now back to the show. So the theme nights, Bliss Cruise only does theme nights. They don't have like themes during the day or anything like that. Pretty much everybody seems to dress on theme. Like we'd say
the most out of anywhere I've ever been.
Like 80, 85, 90% of people are dressing on theme. And not saying that everybody's going out, like all out, but they're at least like have a little something to pay homage to the theme, which I think is always really fun.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, maybe not everyone's like going crazy on glow night, but like at least like a neon shirt, right? Like, I feel like 90% of people had something on that was related to the theme, which I think is so fun that it's such a heavy participation on those. And some people do go all out on Bliss, which is also fun to see. But the themes are really fun. So I will say what the themes are this year.
Or were.
They were. They were Dream House Pink Party, which is like a Barbie party. Pajama Slumber Party. Pajama, however you want to say that word.
Pajama.
Show Me Your Glow, which is a glow party. A fetish night / leather and lace. And then Friday Night Lights, which was kind of like a sports type theme. And there was an actual formal night for dinner one night. I was unaware that it was formal night because I didn't bring anything formal, but they did have that, which was nice. Formal. I mean, I looked about as formal as I do right now on this YouTube video. I had a button-up shirt on, that's short sleeve, so not that formal. But
people looked really pretty. People were in like, I wouldn't say a majority of people were dressed up for formal night, but the people who were dressed up looked really amazing.
Yeah.
Like long dresses and stuff. It was really pretty.
So I would say overall, I think that the themes for this one, I personally, even though we do them all the time, I think having a night or leather and lace night and a glow night, I think is almost mandatory. I think that
agree.
it's needed. And then I also think that I do think in a couple years, the Barbie theme is going to be overplayed. But because it's still so new from the movie coming out last year, this is the first Barbie party I've been to. I really enjoyed that.
Somebody was dressed up in, like they had the box.
Yeah.
One couple, both of them, they were in a Barbie box, and that was so cool. People were really unique with the Barbie costumes, I thought.
And then for as far as like pajama goes, and as well as like Friday Night Lights, like those themes, like I don't mind. I don't love pajama theme, but I think that's supposed to kind of be like a lingerie theme. So like that is fun. But I feel like lots of people went in actual pajamas as well, and not as much like lingerie.
It was still fun. I was happy with the themes.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying those 3 themes I really loved. The other 2 themes I think are good, but they weren't like my favorite themes of all time.
I do think that Bliss is smart in the way that they always do a very simple theme on the last night. Mm-hmm. And so one time they did anything but clothes on the last night, which wasn't like the best thing. But like Friday Night Lights, when people were more in just like jerseys and stuff, where they've done just a random color, like
purple,
a purple
passion.
Yeah, so that's really nice at the end of the cruise where you're not trying to like go all out and everything. And they always do, at least the ones that we've been on, they usually do glow right in the middle, which is really nice. Because there's some other cruises will do glow on the last night, and we're like,
that sucks.
why? Yeah. Moving on to food. The food is, I really think is great. Like, I think cruise ship food is always really good. What's included in your cabin price is the buffet area, and then the main formal dining. And then this one, even on the pool deck, had a hot dog station section.
Hot dog stand,
yeah, so that was pretty fun. The buffet, there's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of different options. They have healthy options, fruit, salads.
If you're vegetarian, vegan, like you can be any sort of dietary restriction on a cruise like this, and you will be easily accommodated. They're also super good about asking those things, or do you have any allergies? Do you have a gluten allergy? Whatever it is.
At least in the main dining room.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to go around asking you that in the buffet.
Yeah, but also
they
you can fill it out too, like whenever
That's
you
true,
go onto the cruise. So they really do try to make it so that everyone has something to eat and has not one thing, but tons of things to eat. And so they do a really good job with that. I agree with you. I think cruise ship food is good. I know some people do not like cruise ship food. This to me was on par with cruise ship food, like it was, which I enjoy. There's so many options. So
I think it's a lot better than like resort food.
I personally agree with that too.
I think it's a higher like quality, just more options and everything. The main dining room was pretty good overall. That's where I think a majority of people said they had the best food was in the main dining room, and that was at night. I don't know if I don't think that they were open for main dining during breakfast or lunch.
I don't think so either.
On a normal cruise, they'll usually have it open on sea days, but I don't.
And they could have, and we could be mistaken, but I don't know if people even up that early. I think the people that do make it up that early go to the buffet.
But it would be nice, like, to go into the main dining room for that. But we thought the food was amazing in the main dining room. The steak was like consistently good.
So that was good. And then there is a few restaurants that are not included.
Well, the other one that's included is on the promenade area, and it was like called the Cafe Promenade, and they had a pizza, little like sandwich bites, things like that,
cookies.
and cookies. And so that one was fun. You can get coffee and stuff there. And the beverages that are included are just like juices and teas that they'll just have, and water that they'll have out for you, and coffee, just like normal coffee. And then the beverage package on Bliss Cruise is not included, so any alcoholic beverage package like that, or if you're wanting sodas and things, those are an additional cost that you will get. You can either purchase when you're on the cruise or whenever you're able to access the app, which is about 30 to 60 days before the sail date.
And you don't have to have a drink package to get drinks. You can individually buy drinks. So if it makes more sense for you to only buy, 1 or 2 drinks a day, you don't have to get the drink package. You can buy it. But if you want the drink package, it is per cabin. There, you have to have everyone in that cabin has to have the drink package. So if there's 2 of you, you can't just get 1 drink package and split it. Both people do have to get the drink package, so just be aware of that. And then also going on with that, of things that like cost extra, there was additional dining. There was a steakhouse, hibachi, Italian, Johnny Rockets for like a hamburger place, and a few other places.
Wasn't there a sushi restaurant?
I think they have hibachi instead of sushi, which I'm sure serves sushi. We normally don't go to the other restaurants because we enjoy the main dining room or the buffet so much, but I do know that a lot of people go to those. And then that kind of ties in. There actually was one night they had 2 different fish dinners on the fish night, and that was, I believe, at the steakhouse. But I saw a big line of people like all in this fish gear going into like one of the restaurants, which I think is like a really fun idea to have like a fish dinner.
I'm not sure exactly what they were doing there. I know in the past that people had thought it was going to be a fish show, and it wasn't quite like that. So we can't technically speak on it.
But I mean, the outfits look cool.
Yeah.
So even if it was just going in with a bunch of people dressed up cool, looking around, I think would be fun. And then you want to talk about like the late night food option, because I think that was great.
Yeah, they had late night options open up until about 3 a.m. in the buffet area, and they had a great selection.
And pizza.
Yeah, and then the pizza, and I'll talk about this pizza afterwards. But in the buffet area, they had really whatever kind of late night food you'd want, French fries, and they had chicken nuggets or chicken tenders and
nachos.
Yeah, all those like fun.
I think they also had like salads and some fruit and things like that too, if you didn't want to just go for like
They had soup. I saw that there was soup as well. And then you could also go on the 5th deck where there was the pizza promenade place, and then that was open as well. And they had desserts too, which is really nice. I didn't talk about desserts earlier, but there was always a ton of different desserts that you could get. Oh, and the breakfast buffet was also really, really good. They had pretty much every option that you would want. They had pancakes and cereals, and then like bacon and literally anything, they had it there. And then,
I also was going to say that the open till 3 o'clock is a huge difference, because some cruises cut off at 2 a.m. I feel like so much of the time, at least for us, we'll dance till 12:30 or 1, and you'd go back to your room, and then it's like 2:15, 2:20, whenever like a play session would end, and then there's no food left. So going that 1 extra hour from that 2 to 3 makes such a huge difference, because I know on other cruises I've heard people like complain like, well, we finished at 2:10, there's nothing left at like 3 o'clock mostly, and I feel like if you're up till 4, you're like, well, I don't really expect people to have food at 4
and
a.m.
I think that they have breakfast start at like 6 or 7.
Yeah, so being up till 3 is huge difference. So I was really thankful that they had till 3 a.m. with the food this time.
Accommodation wise, the ship was really nice overall. The cabin decor was more rustic, I'd say, like just like cozy, comfortable. Like it's not
rustic. It's just
not
not modern.
Yeah, it's not modern or contemporary. It's not
What
like
is
the
that?
cutest decor, but it's like
it's
nice.
It's like I felt very comfortable there. Yeah. It's like 2000s, 90s type.
I don't know.
Feel. I don't really know how to describe it.
I don't like a normal hotel.
Yeah, it was totally acceptable, and I was very comfortable there.
Yeah, and it was clean, and then we'll talk about the staff later, but yeah, always clean. We did go into a suite, and that one did look more modern.
That was cool.
Yeah, that one had like the whole wall was windows, and so that was cool.
Overlooking
my
the front
gosh,
of the
I
ship, that was
forgot,
pretty cool.
but that's whenever we actually looked over and you could see there was a helipad, and so you could go and do like the Titanic thing.
Well, I don't know if the helipad was open on this one. Sometimes they're not open to the public.
Usually they are.
It's like
we
half
didn't
the
check.
time.
But I mean, if there is, we would recommend, if there is a helipad that's open, to go out and kind of look out there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I could see it from that person's room though.
Yeah.
We did not have a suite.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that room, they brought a whole ass swing into it, like a 50-pound swing that they had like set up.
Yeah.
But
I also want to say about the suite thing. We met someone who had listened to the podcast, and they were like, we have an interior room. Every time we get an interior room, because
we have a balcony for
that's because interior rooms were sold out.
Yeah.
We like interior rooms. I like it being dark, but the guy was like, well, I expected you guys like to have a suite. Like, we do pay for these cruises just like everyone. We just love these as vacations. We don't get anything for free when we go on these, and we just book normal rooms.
Yeah.
And so so he was like, you should tell people you guys are in like a standard room.
Yeah.
This is the reason that we're saying that, is because I just assumed everyone thought we were in just a standard interior room.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We don't have suites or anything, but they are cool. If you've ever been to a suite, the suites on these ships are awesome.
We've also had a lot of people ask, do we think that a balcony is worth it? Or do we think a porthole, like whatever, is worth it? And that depends on what you're wanting out of your room. So if you're spending a lot of time in your room and you like to open up the doors and like be on your own balcony and like have that privacy, then we would recommend a balcony. For us personally, we don't spend a lot of time in our room. We mostly are around the ship, and we don't do like huge play sessions.
And we do normally someone has a bigger room.
Yeah. But even if like it's like a group, like 6 people could have been.
You
like,
can fit 8 people in there if you really need it. It really can fit.
I mean, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll say you can fit whatever you want in there. And for us, since we spend so little time in there, usually when we do go in the middle of the day to our room, it is to get ready or to take a nap. And I personally like how dark it is, because it's like pitch black in interior rooms, because like on Temptation and stuff, we've had like portholes and stuff. I like being on an interior room regardless the most. So do I. And sleep is so important for me on these cruises. Like, I felt great every day waking up, and the day we had to get off and I got 4 hours of sleep because we had to get off the ship, I felt horrible that morning. I didn't even like, it's just because, not even because of like drinking, like I just woke up and I didn't sleep enough, so I didn't feel good. So I love having a place I get good sleep.
And not saying that if you do have a balcony room, it's not dark, because they have curtains. It's not like completely open. It's just not pitch black.
Yeah,
because
which I like pitch black.
So it just depends. Yes. that's what it comes down to. It could be worth it. I wouldn't say that it's not worth it. It's just, to us who we don't really care about our room, we are perfectly happy and prefer an interior cabin.
Yes, and we also go on so many trips throughout the year that maybe if I was going on one vacation a year,
that's true,
and I was going to one thing, I was going to go all out for this one trip, I can see also a balcony maybe being more worth it in that case. But even in that case, I still personally just like an interior room. I'm an interior room kind of guy.
Yeah. We've been on a lot of like vanilla cruises too. We always choose interior rooms.
Yeah, and that's just my favorite. We've had other kinds of rooms, and that's my favorite room. So, to those people that stopped us in the hallway, those are the answers to those questions, and I hope that helps somebody.
Moving on into the different activities. So the daytime pool parties, there were a ton of different games that they would do, and that was put on by different companies and stuff. And so, for example, they did a belly flop contest, Mr. and Mrs. Bliss Cruise. They had like a bikini contest. There was a sexy car wash where you could go through and they like suds it up and people were touching everywhere. That took a long time. We don't personally participate, but it is fun to watch. There was musical body parts, so you could it was walking around, you had to touch the and then move on to the next person, and they stopped.
Almost like musical chairs, and if your hands weren't on titties, voted off or whatever it is.
There was one where it was like, and everyone's getting consent before going on to before participating, you're getting everyone's consent. And so there's a lot of different games, and they had really good prizes. They were giving out a couple nights to Desire. I know one of our friends who won the belly contest. Belly flop contest. Belly flop. I said belly flip. They were giving out some stuff from Hito, the Caliente. So there's like a lot of different really good prizes. There was even like $200 cash prizes. Like, I would say that was the best prizes I've seen, because on some of the other ones are like, here's some champagne and a
which is still fun, sheets. Right? It's just fun to watch and participate, but bamboo sheets. But they were really, really great prizes. They had karaoke on this one, which some cruises don't have karaoke. We went out there one night to watch karaoke, but then it took so long to start. We wanted to go to the party that we never ended up staying up there.
We went back on the last night.
Oh, that's right. We did go back up there last night. I forgot about that. So there was karaoke, which I think is really fun, and it was like decently busy up there.
Yeah, it was always pretty busy. I would say like all of the chairs were taken. And back to the pool real quick. So there was like, you talked about it earlier. There was the dance floor. There was always like some kind of music going that you can dance in before like the party games started. One day you were gone. You were like eating or something, but they did like line dancing.
Oh, that's fun.
So like I walked down, they were all doing a line. I wish they did a little bit more though. And it wasn't just like the wobble kind of line dance. It was some other one where you had to do like left, right, left, and then you kick, and then you do the into a grapevine. It was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Next, let's talk about the meet and greets. So there is a ton every day of meet and greets on Bliss Cruise. They are all self-led, so it's not
I
like...
don't know if all of them are.
We had a lot of people like, oh, did you like the meet and greets? So the meet and greets, I think, can be a little bit hit and miss because they do them every day, so sometimes they're just less busy, sometimes they're more busy. Also, it's not like let's say that you're full swap couple, but you also like to soft swap, right? You could go to the soft swap meetup. So it's not like you have to be only soft swap to go to that meetup. We also met people where it's like the 45 and under, and maybe they're not under 45, or maybe people that are, there's one that's 45 and over, and people are under 45. It's not like they're checking ID on the way in to like check those things. It's just an opportunity to bring like-minded people together, and so there's always a chance of meeting really like-minded people there, but it also, you might not find, the exact people that you're looking for there. So it's a hit and miss, one of those things, but it's very cool that they have the option.
They have a speed dating one too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things like that, which...
Those ones were, the speed dating one was like led by somebody.
Yeah, but the other ones weren't. So I would definitely recommend, like, when you're on Bliss, going and checking one out, seeing if it is for you. But they do have a lot of options, which there was veterans one, and there was one for like make a dinner date. So they have lots of different
they had
cool
non-swinging ones.
Yeah, it's ones that aren't just sexual, in the sexual context either. So I think that's really cool.
They had a kink.
Yeah, so many different options that I think that are
necessary. I think it was really nice.
I agree.
Next, we will talk about the different seminars. There was a ton of different seminars that you could go to, both free and paid. We walked into one that was about lust languages, and the seminars were usually pretty busy. And there was even one, I believe she was a couples therapist of some sort, and you could even like book sessions with her. So she went through, and we know a couple who did that with her, and so she can kind of walk them through, their situation, or I wouldn't say situation, but their journey. They kind of told her what they were interested in and what they were kind of looking for, and so they said that she helped out a lot. So there was even that. There were hands-on ones. One of the, I know the really popular ones was the like how to create an orgy, or like orgy etiquette one that
turns
our
into
friends,
an orgy, supposedly.
Yeah, and so that our friends Mike and Lily, they host that, and I think they did that a couple different times.
Yeah.
But and there's ones with a squirting workshop. So there's lots of different workshops. Those ones that are more hands-on do have a extra cost to them.
There was even like an intro to Bliss Cruise, intro to what is swinging, what is the lifestyle. So if you're like completely beginner and you have no clue about anything, there's still some options to like even like introduce you. That's why I think the cruises are such a good way to introduce yourself to the lifestyle. No matter, we have some really good friends, and they went on their first lifestyle cruise before they were lifestyle, and they just like they liked the environment, and then now they're way lifestyle because they like kind of found their space in that. So I think it really does lend itself to that. So
they even had kink, like BDSM seminars. So there was something for everybody. I'm very impressed at all of the different things that Bliss Cruise offers. I think it's like, in my opinion, the perfect type of lifestyle environment.
I agree. And so now, we kind of talked about this earlier about the parties, but I want to go into a little bit more detail about kind of like what the time frame of the parties look like. So we've already talked about like when they are and all that stuff, but...
And this is for this specific one.
This specific
this
cruise.
Specific April Bliss 2025.
So
April Bliss 2024.
Yeah. So I feel like at around 9 o'clock, the promenade would start to get busy. And then by like 10 to 10:30, the promenade was at its full capacity, so busy. And then around like that 10 to 11 is, I feel like, when, depending on the night, the promenade would start to kind of fall off, and the dance floor in Studio B would get busy. Now, sometimes at 10 it was a little bit busy, but I feel like around 10:30 to 11 is when Studio B really picked up. But because, and this is I think something for us personally, right? We don't personally love playing in playrooms as much. We like dancing, meeting people, and then if it turns into something, going back to a private room. Around, I would say, midnight to 12:30, the dance floor really started to clear out, and the playroom started to fill up. And so for people like us who like to dance until 1 or 1:30 or whatever time it is.
Well, usually it's because we're dancing with people until like 1 and then going to like
a room.
It just seemed like it was earlier than normal. Like even before midnight, I feel like it starting to clear out at like 11:30.
Yeah, and like
On
it
the
didn't even
very
get
first
bid
night-
till 10:45. So
Yeah,
there wasn't like there was
huge
like maybe an
window.
hour when it was really busy in the main party.
Yeah.
Like maybe an hour that it was really busy, which I feel like even in the past Bliss,
No, it's
it's
never been
always
like
been
that.
later. And like this cruise to me just felt like the nights felt earlier. Like even at 1:30,
The nights felt like-
they ended earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Like at 1:30, I felt like people had been leaving the playrooms and like the buffet was packed.
Yeah, like
at like
2.
1:32 in the morning.
The very first night, I was shocked. Like, and I don't know if it was because the next day was a port day, but usually the very first night of a cruise is like pretty busy and packed throughout the whole night everywhere. But the dance cleared out by, it was like 11:15. I remember we came back.
11:30. It was not late.
We left to go do something. We came back. I think we left to go check out the playrooms. We came back at midnight. Okay, it was like 12:10 on the first night of a swingers cruise. And I counted, there were like 15 people on the dance floor. 15!
Yeah.
And Jason and we were like, where is everybody? Because we went to the playrooms and yeah, the playrooms were packed, but there wasn't enough to where there was a long, like there wasn't
The
even a
playroom's
line.
not big enough
Yeah.
to hold 3,000 people, you know? So like,
But we were walking around the ship too. We went to the promenade. That wasn't really busy. So I think maybe everybody was just really tired.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that before on
Yeah.
a lifestyle cruise.
And
And
it
then it
was
was the same thing on the last night.
yeah.
Which
The
is
other
also
nights where I say
surprising.
were busier later. But still by 12:30 to 1, it wasn't near as busy. It was still busy at the dance floor, but it wasn't that like packed.
Yeah.
Like it was like on Glow Night was the one that it was packed really late. I get it because I do think it is play heavy because it's a swingers cruise. And so I definitely see why it cleared out, but I'm just not used to, I feel like, clearing out that. And same on the last night. The last night we went to the main dance floor when it opened at 10. There was 2 people dancing, actually 2. And like at 10:30, I think there was like 6 people dancing. It did pick up a little bit later and there was probably like 40 people in there. But the last night, like after the promenade cleared out, the last night, it was just kind of over. The playrooms were busy though.
Yeah,
the playrooms were really busy
There was
that
a
night.
line at the playrooms at like 10:15.
Yeah, it was a huge line. So if you are a big playroom person, Bliss really caters to that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you're not, it's still fun just to dance, but the first night and the last night did surprise me a little bit how it just wasn't as busy as I thought it would be as late as it was.
But the other activities that they had on the ship, there were live music from different bands. There was one, like a piano player. How did they say that? Piano
Pianist?
bar? Pianist? No, where they like
the piano person who like
take requests and
yeah.
stuff. And so they had her there. And then our friends Mike and Lily, they host party games, which is really fun. They did
Yeah.
that, I think, almost every night. And then
Yeah.
we went the first night. It was super busy.
Yeah.
And so it was like icebreaker type games. It was just like fun little, not quite like the party games at the pool. Not like
no.
that. And then we did our meetup. And
Yeah.
so for all of our bookings, we have a private meetup. And we
talked about it a little bit
yeah.
earlier, but that was
really fun.
that one's always a highlight for me. So
And okay, moving on to shows. This is the one thing that we were kind of disappointed in the different shows this year because there wasn't like a main sexy show. And this is the first time that we've been on a Bliss cruise that there wasn't a show. And so we haven't, this is our first April Bliss cruise ever.
So maybe they never do it
Yeah,
then.
so
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. But the ones that we've been on, there was at least like a burlesque show or some type
something,
of
yeah.
like sexy show, but yeah, they didn't have that this year, which was kind of sad for us.
Yeah.
And then
they
there
had
was
they had a welcome show,
Yeah.
also an exit show,
And that
then
was-
a comedian.
but the welcome and the exit show was the cruise director Malcolm, who is an amazing cruise director.
agree.
He is so charismatic. He is witty.
He's
He
so
is
witty.
funny. He has a great voice. Like he is a fantastic cruise director.
And he's normally always the ones, all the Blisses we've been on, he's been
Yeah.
the cruise director, so he's wonderful.
And we've been to the welcome show before, and introducing people to the owners of Bliss, and they do like a couple like fun little things. But it's not the welcome and the exit show isn't like a sexy type
Yeah.
kind
And
of show. It's
also,
more fun.
I wish that the shows would have been at 9.
Yeah.
And not 10, because that's when the party started. And like I said, if the party clears out sometimes by midnight and the show ends at 9:45 to 10, there's not like that much space in there. I personally like the parties more, but I would have also liked to go to the show before the party. So I feel like I would have preferred if it was at 9, but that's just me personally.
There was also a comedian, and so the comedian, funny story about the comedian, he didn't know.
Supposedly. Right? It could be a bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a comedian, but supposedly.
Supposedly he didn't know that he was booked on a swingers cruise, and apparently he thought that he was on the Norwegian Bliss.
That's what his agent told him.
Yeah,
and
so,
he got there, then figured out. Could
which
that
is
be
funny.
a bit? Regardless, it's funny. Regardless. So I'm sure the comedy show was good. We've heard people say it was good, but we just personally didn't go because we chose to dance.
Which I don't even know if we ended up dancing, because if the show was at 10 and we went and there was like nobody there, we were probably just dilly-dallying walking around. I think we usually just went to the promenade until...
Which we like to people watch a lot.
We do like
I love to see all the outfits.
Yes.
And it's kind of dark in the dance, so you can't see the outfits as good. So the promenade was awesome for seeing all the outfits.
They did have the shows that the cruise ship itself puts on. Those ones are just... It was like a tribute to something. Oh, they did have a John... Wait, I always say it wrong. John Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi is right.
Bon Jovi.
She kept calling him John Bovey.
John Bovey, yeah. They had like a tribute band to that, which, again, I'm sorry, we didn't go to, but they did offer that. And then they did have the shows that the cruise ship itself puts on, not Bliss related, but those ones are usually more family friendly and kind of like Glee, you know? So it's, I think... couples or people going on the cruise are expecting a sexy-er type show, and whenever they're going, they're watching and they're like, this production is interesting, because it's like so vanilla that they're kind of shocked by that. And there was an ice skating show, and Jase saw a little bit of that. I was doing a line dance at the pool.
And I went to see that, so that was kind of cool. So they did have cool stuff. I just wish it would have been a sexy show. That's really it. That's the one thing I wish there was.
Next thing is music. Okay, this April Bliss cruise was, I think, the best music that I've heard at a lifestyle event to date.
I agree.
I think that all of the DJs were amazing. DJ Life of Spice was there, DJ Philly Phil, DJ
Stephen B.
Yeah, DJs. And there was a fantastic mix of popular music that like everybody, like top 40 music, into good remixes with EDM into like the next song that people would know.
And some like classics. Like it was just a great mix. There was reggaeton. It was a really, really good mix. I thought people were really vibing with the music. I know I personally was. The DJs were all incredible, They played music that you could actually like sexy, like grind dance to with other people. So that's one of the nights, the fetish night, I think. We were really dancing with people, and that ended up going good.
Going insane.
But it was just, and that was DJ Life of Spice. So I need to thank him the next time I see him for that.
Oh my gosh. So I think we're going to do a different podcast. We'll probably talk about whenever we talk about our like fun experience that we had, the sexy experience. But we're going to talk about some highlights in that one too. But I did want to say shout out to DJ Life of Spice, because one night, I think it was Glow Night. There was one night where every DJ who was on there had a little set time. It was like an hour or two per DJ. And he ended his set with Mr. Brightside by The Killers. And that was just a highlight of the cruise, one of the highlights of the cruise for me, because it was us and then two other couples. And we were like holding each other, like scream singing to Mr. Brightside. And it was like so cute and wholesome.
It was fun.
Yeah, music was absolutely amazing.
I'll go into ports. I'm not going to get too into the ports because it's really not, it's going to change every cruise. This year we went to Bimini, Bahamas, and Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Both of those ports were great. Bimini was really cool because it's a walkable beach. The beach was beautiful. The water was incredible. You had an amazing time. You could be topless at that beach because there was no other ships there that day. So people were just frolicking naked at the beach. Yeah, it was so nice. And then Puerto Plata is a really cute little cruise port, and there's a bunch of different excursions you can actually go do
and purchase.
So we didn't get off the boat, but the one thing I think
we didn't get out.
Oh yeah, we didn't do an excursion. We got off the boat, but not for long.
Yeah, we didn't leave the port.
But the one thing that I think people are always curious about is there like adult excursions? There was one. I don't remember which of the two ports it was in, but there was like an adult catamaran that Bliss puts on, and I heard that was fun. We did not go to it, but I did hear it was fun.
Miscellaneous things. So this is a fully clothing optional cruise, and you can only be clothing optional. So you could be nude only on the specified areas, which is the pool deck areas, the solarium, or if you're in the playroom. So whenever there's even like night parties, people aren't just walking around nude. You can't go eat in any of the restaurants nude, anything like that. So it's only those specific places, but it is nude optional. I guess we could have talked about this at the demographic, however we didn't at that point, but it is all different body types. And we had a lot of people asking, like, is my body type going to be accepted? Like, what is it like? Am I going to be self-conscious? And so when it comes to the nudity, most people are not fully nude. I would say a majority of people are not.
Well, there definitely is people that are.
And so it's not like, it doesn't feel like a nudist cruise to me. There are some people who go on there who aren't in the lifestyle, but like being nude, who are nudists. And so you will see a lot of body parts, but it's not like everybody is nude. So you're not going to feel out of place if you're not nude.
Or if you are nude.
Yeah, or if you are nude. And I will say a lot of people are topless.
There's all different ethnicities, and all different ages.
All different body types.
Yeah, everything. Like, it really is just an all-encompassing group of people.
We always relate it to going to an airport. So you'll go to an airport, minus the kids. And then you do have to be 21 or older to book. So then that's another thing. And it's all different types of bodies. I personally think that it's a majority of like what I would say is your average body type. Like, I don't go around seeing people with like rock hard abs and like really, really fit people, which there are. But I think when people are looking into this, they're wondering, like, I don't look like a model.
Well,
is everyone
all
going
the advertisement for these cruises
that's true.
is models.
And that's not what the cruise looks like. Like, being completely transparent, it's like very, you will feel comfortable. It is so fun. The people are absolutely amazing. I did not speak to anybody who was mean.
No.
I never like come across people who are rude.
Yeah.
Everyone's just super welcoming. And so another thing, so this cruise does not include alcohol with your cabin ticket. So you do have to purchase a beverage package. If you are wanting to get like the full unlimited beverage package, you can do that. You can purchase alcohol, but it's not included in your price. Whenever we do these reviews, people are wondering why we don't like talk about the cost. And that's just because it's going to vary from cruise to cruise, depending on the ship. Yeah. And so it depends. I will say it's definitely more of like a luxury type of vacation. So typically, like, the very cheapest, if you're not going to include like beverage package or anything, and you just get like interior cabin and not including flights and all of that, for like a 5-night cruise, the cheapest we've seen it was like including like port fees and everything, could be about $2,700 roughly. About
maybe a little bit cheaper.
Yeah,
it's going to be comparable with the resort. You're going to be paying around what you're going to be paying for a resort.
I would say, like, on average, people would spend, I think more people get like balcony rooms than not.
Those are probably 4 to 5.
Yeah, I'd say like on average. So if about that, and then if you want to do the beverage package is usually about $1,000 to $1,200 more if you're wanting to add that on. And then if you wanted to do specialty dining, that's another cost. So it definitely is, it's going to vary.
It's your vacation. However you want to do it, you can do it on the lower end side of it, which is still not like cheap, but you can do it on the lower end side, or you can do it. I mean, I know there's cabins, if you get those crazy ones, they're like $20,000 for 5 days. Like, you can do it in any sort of capacity that you want to. So it's hard for us to talk about price because it does just vary so much,
just depending on what you're wanting. And then you can find all that information on like our website, though. You can go to 4OURPLAY.com/cruise and then click on it, and then it shows like the different types of cabins and stuff that you can see, and then the pricing for those. Staff, absolutely incredible. That goes for both the Bliss staff and for just the Royal Caribbean staff. A cruise ship staff is always, like, I think, like, the best hospitality. They just go above and beyond, and they just make you feel like royalty, really. Like, I mean, like, stateroom attendants, absolutely amazing. All the people who work in the food, absolutely amazing. We do want to touch, we've gotten some comments about this, and it's like, people are wondering if the staff on the ship is who is like working the playrooms and stuff like that. So that's completely separate. So the people who are working the playrooms are Bliss staff. So that and those are either volunteers or people anyway. So it's not the Royal Caribbean staff. That's completely different. The Royal Caribbean staff are going to be like the bartenders, the wait staff, the stateroom attendants, guest services, those kinds of things. So staff completely different. The people who are doing playrooms or anything to do with like seminars, those kinds of things, is not Royal Caribbean. And so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that there is a very specific line
also there. Bliss or any of these cruises, right? The people who are working it are told what kind of cruise this is, and they are able to say, I do not want to be on that cruise, and there is no repercussions for them. They don't lose their job. Like, you don't have to do this cruise. If you are on the staff, they let you skip out.
They are aware of what cruise it is. They are aware of the people. So you have
to like be aware. You have to like sign up to do that. Not sign up to do it, but you're able to get off of that cruise if you don't want to work it, and there's no problem with that. So also all of these people that are working are at least fine with whatever's going on. They know what kind of cruise it is, and just putting that out there too.
And we have spoken to so many of the stateroom attendants and like the workers with Royal Caribbean who are on these cruises, and they always say that it's their favorite type of people because swingers are happy people. Like, we are so just like fun and like loving, and there's just a great energy, and like you're on vacation. And so we've heard that
someone said they met the sales quota on day one of this cruise.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I can't speak for that, but that is a rumor that I heard floating around, which if it's true, it wouldn't surprise me because swingers love to drink. But it's funny regardless, and just the people were just happy. Like, all the stateroom attendants, every time you'd ask, like, is this cruise fun for you? They always say yes. The people that sign up for one always go on the rest of them if they have a chance to work them, because they are fun. Like, they're just fun. So
yeah, and it's just like a great energy, and like I said, we've been on vanilla cruises before too, lots of them, and it's completely different. And we've talked to the staff before, and so wanted to say that.
The one last thing before we go into the conclusion that I think is miscellaneous is the messaging on these cruises. So there's a messaging system on the Royal Caribbean app. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. Also, I can briefly mention Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi on ships is decent. If you need to do a little bit of like internet type browsing, it's going to get you where you need to be.
And there is additional cost.
Yeah, it is an additional cost. But if you need to upload things, if you need to download things, if you need to tell like Skype, it's not the best internet. It's not. But if you need to do basic internet searching and stuff like that, maybe get on Instagram, Facebook, things like that, the internet will work fine for that. Regardless of that, the messaging, you don't have to have Wi-Fi to do. The messaging helps.
Well, you have to have Wi-Fi. You have to have the free Wi-Fi connection from the ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you don't have to like pay for Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Sorry, you don't have to pay for Wi-Fi. You don't have to have free Wi-Fi that the ship gives you. Same thing to be on their app. But the messaging works. It's a little bit spotty at times, but it is nice that they provide it, because on ships this big, it can be hard to find people. So having some way to message people, just able to look up people by their, and also the messaging does look up by your first and last name.
Whatever is on your passport or whatever is on your ID that you use to get on the ship.
Yeah, just letting people know that too. But it is nice that they at least have that as an option, because there's people that we could not find, and we did message them. We were able to schedule a dinner that would not have happened if we did not have the messaging. So it is good. It's just not always the most reliable.
Because it'll like knock you off of their Wi-Fi. And then also you only get notifications if your phone is open. So
one time I got one when it was closed.
Did? Oh,
but most time I didn't. Yeah. So it's great because it's a free option, and it's really nice that they give you that. But at least it's some way that kind of works.
All right, and that is the end of everything that we could think of for a review on Bliss Cruise April 2024. We absolutely love going on all of the Bliss cruises. This is our first April one, but we will continue to go on both the April and November ones.
We're booked the next 2 Aprils already, and the next 2 Novembers as well.
Exactly. So you can tell we love going on these. We think it's like the best type of lifestyle vacation, because there's a little bit of everything for everybody. It can be kind of overwhelming if you're not used to so many people, but we personally like a lot of people on there.
And if you get overwhelmed, you can step away. There's so many quiet places on the ship that even if you don't want to be in your room, there's places that are very not busy. So don't get like overwhelmed by the thought. You literally can handle it however you want to, which is what's great about them.
You can go at your own pace. Again, remember, marathon, not a sprint. You don't have to do anything. You are not forced to do anything. You don't even like in the playroom. So I know people get nervous, like, do I have to participate? You don't have to participate. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. It's all up to you and your speed. It's your journey. It's your vacation. And so I think that's really about it.
Yeah, recommend it. And come with us. 4OURPLAY.com/cruise. We just love to meet everybody. I love to do our get-togethers. I love to do our dinners. It's literally
I give our gifts out.
Yeah, it's so much fun to meet such amazing people, and it's just, I don't know, that's literally always the highlight of me.
And creating a community.
Yeah,
it's so
like
fun.
I know I say it every time, but like every time, it just consistently is my favorite part. So if you want to come with a group, feel free to come with us. We would love to meet you guys, to have you guys. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. So I really does. I hope it helps. And hopefully you learned some information, got some questions answered that make it easy for you to decide. And do book early if you're considering going, because it's selling out earlier and earlier every single year. So make sure to book early if you are considering going. That is our one big tip, is to do that. But let's go ahead and jump into Bella and Jase's
Weekly Obsessions. Okay, my weekly obsession, one of them is, so on the cruise, well, before the cruise, one of our friends, our couple friends, she's big into like festivals and raves and stuff. And so in rave culture, there's something called candy, and you make these bracelets. And so then you can exchange them with people, and you do the plur thing, which is peace, love, unity, respect. You do this thing where it's like a peace sign. Here, if you're watching us on YouTube, this is plur. Peace, love, unity, respect. You hold hands, and then I have a bracelet over here, and then I will like give him the bracelet, or whoever I'm giving it to. So she had the idea of like bringing candy on, like candy bracelets. And it's candy, K-A-N-D-I. It's not actual like food candy, and to give them out to people. And I was like, that is such an amazing idea. So I didn't make any, but she had brought the beads actually. So whenever we were at the hotel before we went onto the cruise, and we were having a little bead party, and we were making all these bracelets. And then whenever we were going on the cruise, I was like, we have to think of some way to do like plur, but like sexy, like do it a swinger plur, you know what I mean? And so then I thought we should do this. So you take your hands, so you have your bracelets, right? And then our bracelets said like sexy things on it. Like it said, she made a bunch that said Bliss, to commemorate the cruise. And she had like, oh my God, the cutest beads. So there was pineapples and like little stars and like little cinema roll and like Sanrio characters, like gummy bears. So cute. Okay, so then I thought that we could go like this. So you do a peace sign, and then you go to the side, and then you start them with your hands. And then you hold the hand, and then you put the bracelet on.
Yeah.
So my obsession is that, and then making bracelets to give out like that.
Yeah, I think I can see it getting even more normalized because of Taylor Swift and the friendship bracelets that everyone is like trading all the time. So I can see this getting bigger with time on the cruises, which I think is a really fun.
Or like
thing.
any of the events. So I gave them to some people, and she was like, I'm gonna do this at the next event that I go to, because they had made bracelets that had their like usernames on it, which is also a really good idea. But I like making the ones that say like funny things, or like slut, or like nice ass, or actually maybe like let's make out or something.
Yeah, and we're going to, and you're gonna make them because we're going to Naughty and Nolans for the first time. Around, I guess, 7 weeks after this comes out, and so we'll make some for that. Or I guess I'm not a big bracelet
you can give
maker,
them out?
But I can give them out.
Is that weird for guys to do scissoring? Probably not. I scissored a guy, well, for the bracelet.
I think it'll be okay.
I gave him a daddy one, and then I fucked him later.
So it works, but I do think that that is really fun. And that was
a long weekly obsession for me, so I'm just gonna say one.
Okay.
So you can say two.
I only had one.
Oh, you only have one. Okay.
My weekly obsession is Chapel Roan. We listened to a song called Red Wine Supernova. It played after like Olivia Rodrigo or something one day, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this, and I listened to it more and more, and then obsessed. She has a song called Hot to Go, and she's also another redhead, which I feel like we just have to support each other because there's so few of us left. So I feel this special connection to her.
Dua Lipa's one of you now.
I know. I accepted her. I don't know the rest of the community did, but I did.
I think everybody, Dua Lipa is accepted everywhere.
Also, her album comes out tomorrow as the day of recording this, and so guarantee
already know.
You know what my next weekly obsession is going to be? Radical optimism. I'm going to tell you what it's going to be now because I already know it's going to be the next weekly obsession. But yeah, it's all of her songs. Everything I listen to, I at least like, and some stuff I just love.
Now are you just going on a Dua tangent right now?
No. Chapel Roan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dua.
No, Chapel
I was
Roan.
like, the listeners know you love Dua.
No, Chapel Roan. And like she wears such cute outfits.
Yeah.
On like whenever she performs live, she's so talented, she's so cute. I really like her, and that's it.
What should they listen to? Two songs they should listen to if they
Red
want.
Wine Supernova and Hot to Go.
Yes.
Those are my two favorites.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. Hopefully this helps. Again, if you guys want to book through our links for your next vacation, helps us out a ton, completely free for you. That's 4play.com/travel. Or on the cruises, you can do 4play.com/cruise. That's number 4OURPLAY.com. All of our information is there. And we will see you guys in our next one. Love ya. Bye. If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below and on our website, 4play.com. That's number 4OURPLAY.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we make videos and vlogs about the swinging lifestyle. Head to 4play.com/YouTube to watch and subscribe. We have the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined called 4Play the Game that's both digital and physical. It's perfect for breaking the ice and spicing up any party. You can find more information at 4play.com/games. We also have the best swinger lifestyle, kinky, and adult humor clothing and accessories that you can find at 4play.com/shop. If you're looking to plan a lifestyle destination, booking through our links at 4play.com/travel really helps support the show and helps us be able to continue to create this type of content for you. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and more. You can find all our current social media accounts at 4play.com/socials, and I have an OnlyFans which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP. We also have a Facebook group and Discord community and would love for you to join us. You can find the direct links in the show notes below. Lastly, we're on STC and Cassidy at 4Play, and you can get a free full membership trial by using our link. You can email us at hello@4play.com with any questions or comments, or head to 4play.com/ask. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!